Well, this clearly wasn't the most uncomfortable dinner party ever. How's everyone doing today, guys? My name's Nico, and this is the calm before the storm, pretty much. These two episodes, because man, do a lot of solid things happen in these two episodes, but with everything that's been leading up to the finale, oh boy. So this is Amphibia. This is episode 39A, The Dinner. Yeah, yeah, there's a dinner indeed, and it's a very uncomfortable dinner. So, the entire episode is focused on the Plantars having Grime and Sasha over for dinner because, you know, the two groups are just trying to make amends for everything that's happened. And there is a lot of tension between the two, and it's very, very interesting. So, one thing that is rather addressed right out of the gate, and I'm kind of surprised that it's addressed, and I mean, for at least Sasha's case, because Anne and Marcy talked about how much they've changed since they first arrived at Amphibia, and then you cut to Sasha, who says, I haven't changed at all. So it's so a part of me kind of is intrigued by with the idea that Sasha acknowledges the fact that she hasn't really changed. I don't know, I feel like when one is able to acknowledge the fact that they haven't changed, it makes you wonder, I mean, Sasha obviously still is kind of a control freak, so there is that, but it's better to at least acknowledge the fact that you haven't changed instead of denying the fact, like, oh, what do you mean? Yeah, but I mean, granted, she does lie to Anne, and Marcy saying, like, oh yeah, I'm totally changed, you know, that thing, but her telling Grime that she hasn't changed was kind of funny. And it does lead to this rather weird moment, so, you know, Grime actually kind of seems like the sane person when he's talking with Sasha, because Sasha is kind of spiraling out of control because she wants to get back in control with Anne and Marcy, and taking over Amphibia, I guess, also can help. So Grime is kind of level-headed in part of this episode, because he wants this dinner to go off without a hitch, so he's more focused on just acting his best behavior along with Sasha, and he even tells her to ditch her sword and all of her daggers. And we get to see how many daggers Sasha has. Like, she pulls like 2 out of her pockets, but then she pulls one out of the back of her head, and then she she takes off one of her boots, and then just like, I don't know, like 2 dozen daggers like fall out or something, and like, or no, not 2 dozen, like I would say at least a dozen daggers fall out of the boot, and Grime, along with the rest of the audience, I imagine, was basically responded, how do you even walk? Like, solid delivery by Troy Baker, in my opinion. So it's really, yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that with, yeah, it's kind of interesting. So, obviously, again, Sasha tries to play it rather cool, but so when they arrive at the house, Sasha and Marcy are very excited about the fact that all 3 of them are finally back together, and they're doing things, yay, they're kind of, you know, they're doing some fun, and this leads to, I mean, again, Marcy's open with Sasha, but everyone else isn't, like, Anne is kind of skeptical. Hop, Sprig, and Polly are very hostile. like they come in, like, Sasha and Grime come in, and Paul, like, Hop and Sprig go into fear, and Polly's like, take Hop, he's old! Just Polly, I mean. So, you know, we start with that, and then we go outside where the whole crew is having dinner, and Sasha wants to sit next to Anne, but Sprig sits next to Anne, and he is so joyful that he's like, sorry, this seat's taken, and Sasha's like, and you know, they do like the like getting like the signal, like the cough signaling kind of thing, and so kind of, yeah, it's interesting with it. You know, he's like, Sasha's like, this kid's annoying me. Grime, better keep your head. Can't keep my head, kids. It's like they're doing this literally in front of the entire family. It's like, okay. And it seems like dinner is going fine. Again, Grime is playing it rather normal, but Sasha is the more tense of the group, obviously with everyone else. And Hop decides to tell a wonderful joke about a toads. He's like, how many toads does it take to screw in what is like, basically it's like how many toads does it, it's basically how many toads does it take to screw in a light bulb kind of joke, but it's obviously more in amphibian terms. And he basically just offends the toads. That's the best way to put it. And literally everyone's reaction is just like it's just so uncomfortable. And even I was like, why would you say that? And of course, Grime laughs it off, but I imagine deep down he's like, I will cut this frog open and eat his heart. I mean, maybe, I don't know. It's Disney. They probably wouldn't let that happen. Yet, we've had some pretty twisted stuff in the past from Disney, so who knows. So it seems, so you know, they're eating dinner, everything's going well, minus that joke. But then they do, and then what's funny enough is Marcy and Sasha bring up a backstory, bring up a story about them getting, like, what did they say? They went onto the roof and I think they said they did something up on the roof of the school, and that Sasha, you know, it was Sasha's idea, but Anne actually took the fall for it. And like, she, like, thinks about it, and she's like, yeah, I actually got grounded for a month for that. And Sasha, like, I like how Sasha looks at her and just, like, she kind of has that moment of realization, like, oh, wow, because, like, she realizes, yeah, because, I mean, again, it's like, she kind of has to rethink some of the deeds that she's done, and the fact that, yeah, she has had Marcy and Anne kind of take the fall for a lot of them, and more especially, because Anne's the one who's trying to during that time tried to keep the group together, so it would make sense that she would take the fall for something that happened with Anne and Sasha and Marcy. So yeah, but I do like that. I like how Sasha has that moment where she kind of has that look of guilt on her, and she's again adding to the confliction that she's having on this series. And then we go to their game, this game that they went Druzel or something, like, yeah. So basically, you know how like Flipboard was basically chess, this is basically Pictionary. So the group has to draw all these different things, and so it seems like it's rather simple. You know, with let's see, I think Grime goes first, and Hop Hop gets it right. So then Hop Hop goes next because, you know, he got it right. And so he's drawing this snake. I think they said it, and so Sasha says it looks like a weeping sand snake. And Sprig, and I mean, it does look like a snake, but Sprig just goes at her. He's like, I mean, that's kind of the thing. It's like they get super, like, it's just hammering it on the head how the family is picking on Sasha. Like, they don't even hide it. Of course, it's not like they're going straight at her for no reason. It's like, so again, so Sasha said weeping sand snake, and Sprig's like, that doesn't look anything like a snake, but a weeping sand snake. You're stupid. Bad guess, bad guess, bad guess. And so, of course, Sasha gets really frustrated that someone is calling her out on that. But then Hop Hop actually says that was correct, and so Sasha takes that as advantage to, like, go at Spriggs, like, yeah, in your face, nice. And I mean, in my opinion, not as lethal as Sprig. But then this leads to Sasha drawing a picture, and I mean, it looked like a tree. It was a tree. I can definitely say that would be one of my guesses. It's a tree. But of course, that's not what the family was picking. Oh man, this got so uncomfortable and dark, or not dark, just bad. So Sasha draws a tree, but I mean, with the base looking like a tower, and the tree, and like the leafy part of the tree that you usually draw kind of looks like an explosion. The family thought it was the explosion at Toad Tower, and they do not hold back. They are like, you mean when Anne, oh yeah, like when Anne, oh yeah, Toad Tower, where Anne had to make the decision of her friend between us, and like how she basically destroyed the friendship and literally was gonna let you drop over the tower. Like, they do not hide it at all. They just go as Sasha. And of course, Sasha, she has to, I mean, well, at first she tries to let it just, like, try and take it, but she can't. So she grabs, like, of course she's like, it's a tree! It's a tree! How could you? Of course, she grabs the stand and just throws it out the window. And of course, Anne and Sasha get into a fight. Like, Sasha, what's freaking interesting, this was my favorite line of the episode for how, like, WTF it was. So Anne's like, I thought you changed, and Sasha's like, well, maybe I don't want to change, and Ernie's like, Anne's like, you can't, did you expect us to just forgive you like that? You tried to kill them. And Sasha's like, one time, I tried to kill him one time. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, see, here's the thing. When you say, I only tried to kill him one time, you still tried to kill him. That's not exactly a good way to put it. So, but it's my favorite line because of how serious they say it. And they don't acknowledge it besides that. They don't, like, say, oh, I'm still trying to kill him. Like, after Sasha says, like, I only tried to kill him one time. But, of course, all of this is interrupted by this surprise that Grime brought. So, when they arrived at the house, Grime had this volcano cake, which, he said it was gonna, continue to build up until, it eventually erupts. And so they thought, they said, what did he say? It was volcano chocolate cake? I think that's what he said. So it seems like, I mean, this is kind of interesting because Grime, like, oh, we always have these at dinner parties. It's like a tradition. So apparently this lava chocolate cake is actually a volcano. Like, literally erupts lava, and of course the house gets destroyed, and everyone's like, what? This is actual lava? And Grime's like, oh, wait, you don't do that? It's like, I thought that's what you guys were for. And it's like, not exactly. So it's kind of funny that Grime inexplicably caused this to happen. Like, I mean, he really is kind of confused with everything. He's like, wait, what? It's like, and then he's so into it at the same time. He's like, because he's done it before. It's a tradition. So, granted, this is weird. So after the volcano cake erupts and has lava all over the house, so the floor is lava stick. They didn't have these hornets that they can literally shoot their stingers out, and they can paralyze anyone they hit. I have no idea what else to say to that, other than Grime gets his comeuppance, I guess, for doing this, because he gets shot with one of them, and so he's out for the rest of the battle, and so everyone has to work together in order to defeat them. And so Anne and Sasha, they in the moment make their amends, like, Sasha, like, and Sasha's like, well, you know, Anne's like, I thought you changed. And Sasha's like, maybe I don't want to change. And she's like, I like me being me. What's wrong? What's wrong with that? And so Anne's like, okay, well, maybe instead of you changing you, maybe you at least accept that I've changed. And so I'm like, that's legit. Yeah. Why did I screw that up? That's a legitimate point. You know, because we, you know, when it comes to us going through changes, it's kind of tough to go through them because we don't know if it's the right decisions. We're kind of afraid of changing who we are and who we were. But when it comes to other people changing, you would want to be open to that because for them, they're going through the same thing. So when they kind of change and they become like a different person, you do have to at least understand that and accept that. Obviously, there are changes that could not go well, and so we have to. But that doesn't mean we should automatically go in and say, "Hey, don't do that." You want to understand their mindset at least. I mean, in my opinion, that's how I see it, because you know, it's like you don't want to go up to someone who's changed and just be like, no, don't like it, change back. Like, you don't want to do that, because why would you do that? So I do like how Sasha, like, Anne kind of gives Sasha that idea to, like, at least accept her change. But at the same time, I feel like Sasha is gonna take it more of like, fine, you've changed, but I don't care. This is what I want. I want to do this. So you can't stop me regardless of what you've become. It's like, that's kind of how I'm gonna see this, because again, the promos for the season 2 finale were kind of aiming to that. So yeah. So basically so during this after Sasha and Anne make their amends, I say in air quotes again, the battle kind of goes into a rather interesting idea. So they can't defeat the Hornets because any weapons they use doesn't inflict damage on them. But then Anne gets the idea that maybe they can't inflict any damage with their weapons, but maybe the Hornets' own abilities can. And so they kind of do this like tag team where, or not like a tag team, it's like, basically the plan is Sasha goes and uses her weapons to mess around with the Hornets, so that way they fire at her and she dodges them, and Anne Anne grabs all the stingers that were fired and then just tosses them on Marcy, who, by the way, during this entire time, even though she's dressed up for a dinner party, has a freaking wrist crossbow in hand, literally. It's like, I love it. Like, Anne's like, Marcy, do you still have your crossbow? And then Marcy's like, yeah, I never leave without it. It's just like, okay. So she uses the crossbow to fire the stingers at the Hornets to kill them all. And everything eventually, so all the Hornets are eventually just defeated. The lava then hardens so they can actually walk on the floor. But again, the house is completely destroyed. And Grime even comes to, and he starts eating he grabs one of the Hornets and dips it in chocolate and starts eating it, and he's like, this is really good. You guys want some? It's like, okay. And they have like they have like a little bit of mumbling conversations, but then Hop-Up's like, where are we gonna live? It's like, yeah, the house is destroyed. I mean, granted, you can just always call Chuck to come in and just fix it in a snap, as we've seen him do, so that's probably what's good. That is what happened. So the next episode, the house is fixed. I can only assume Chuck is the reason why. But yeah. So in terms of this episode, I thought it was a fun episode. I mean, again, with this being the penultimate episodes, there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of uncomfortable moments in this episode that really kind of got me like squirming in my seat, because I'm like, where are they going with this? And this being the calm before the storm is very interesting. So by the looks of it, I mean, the Plantars, I mean, the Plantars seem to be cool with Grime and Sasha, and Anne seems to be cool with Sasha and Grime, but it's like, what's gonna happen next? Of course, this doesn't lead into the finale. The next episode leads into the finale, and I mean, it's the one that's been talked about a lot. Honestly, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. I mean, when you have your penultimate episode be a Battle of the Bands episode before the season finale, it's like, weird, but we'll see what happens, right? Okay, so, alright, well, that's all I got for this video. So if you liked it, leave a like. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. If you want to subscribe, you don't have to. I'm just saying. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next one.